What's going on, everybody? Eric Lindquist at Stochastic here on the Odd Chopper channel, coming to you with another edition of Lindy's Leans Lights Locks. Hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell. Goes a long way for me on this video. Goes a long way for you. That way you become apprised whenever great content is going live here at our little neck of the YouTube woods. My friends, absolute smash fest. Dennis Schroeder goes completely ballistic. They are in the middle of a blowout too, which is kind of wild. But he was by far the best player on the floor for Toronto. Also had some pretty darn good reads across the industry here today. Feeling a lot better. Also didn't have a lock that ended up showing up on the card. Kept it pretty conservative here on Tuesday. But Wednesday, friends, there are 14 games. There is no way that we aren't going to find more. I have one here. One with 14 games right now. But I'm sure we're going to add a couple more to the fray here as we go along. So be on the lookout for it. You should all be on the lookout for this too. Odd Chopper. New pricing is live. Check that out. $14.95 for the weekly now, $49.95 for the monthly. And here's the thing. The premium Discord alone used to be $20 a week. I'm so happy that I was able to talk them into reducing that by a little bit for my friends there in the premium Discord, our loyal people there who have been hanging out there. $14.95 a week. That's awesome. But guess what? It gets even better because Black Friday is approaching and we're getting a little head start here for you. The Black Friday deal is also live. 50% off using code Black Friday on your first payment for a weekly or a monthly. So 50% off the $14.95 or the $49.95, making it $25 for a monthly package here for your first month. And then $49.95 going forward. Same thing. $14.95 would be slashed to $7. And I'm not going to do it. $9.25. Yeah, there you go. Anyway, we are looking at amazing deals here. Use code Black Friday. Get 50% off of OS here right now. Awesome stuff. Thank you to Odd Chopper. Thank you for everybody for listening to me, getting some extra dollars in your pocket. Plus, you're getting those tools. I mean, the tools are the main part. That's what you're really looking for. And of course, the premium Discord. That's where you're going to be hanging out with me, Matt Kacheski, Isaiah Suarez, Ben Raza, all the people you know and love here on the Odd Chopper channel. So check it out. Promo code Black Friday and reduced pricing for months and months on end here. Going to be awesome stuff here at Odd Chopper. But anyway, that's enough here from the get-go. We'll talk about BetMGM, our sponsor here of the program, a little bit later. But with 14 games, producer Jacob's ready for bed. I am too. Oh, wait. We get to record NFL after this. My friend, let's get to the picks. Are they giving away free tickets to this basketball game? I hope they're giving away free tickets to this basketball game because otherwise I wouldn't want to go to this basketball game. I love basketball. It's like the little Tweety Bird thing from Space Jam. You know what I'm talking about? Anyway, Washington taking on Charlotte in Charlotte. And my dear God, Jordan Poole, nearly a minus 15 in terms of estimated plus minus over the course of this season. He is the worst in the NBA by far for anybody for a minimum of 15 field goal attempts per game. Again, interesting minimum, but it would be the worst in NBA history at that mark as well. That's how bad he has been. It is wild to see those kind of numbers on the page. But Tyus Jones, Jordan Poole, Denny Avdia, Kyle Kuzma, Daniel Gafford. What did you expect from this starting five? And then you got Bilal Coulibaly, Corey Kispert, Gonzaga's finest, Landry Shamet, Danilo Gallinari. Like, this team is constructed about as well as a G League basketball team. So, yeah, they're going to lose a lot of games by lots of points, but only 4-point favorite Charlotte is here at home, which isn't so great themselves. Brandon Miller started to get inserted into a larger role. And of course, the main thing, Miles Bridges gets added to the starting lineup there in just his third game back. Looks pretty darn good from a real basketball perspective. We're not going to talk about anything else. So as it stands right now, you have a Charlotte team that makes lots of sense. It is what it is. But I'm looking at LaMelo Ball here. I think that one thing about Miles Bridges is he's going to take some defensive, what's the right word for it? Not intensity. He's going to end up taking in a lot more looks. Like, people have to account for a Miles Bridges, whereas you could have just stood in the corner next to JT Thor and he wouldn't go anywhere. So, like, those are wasted minutes. And PJ Washington now coming off the bench, he's not nearly as offensively inclined as that of a Miles Bridges. So this is definitely a notch up here for the offense of Charlotte. And overall, for a guy like LaMelo Ball, you take a little less pressure off of him, and he's going to chuck. He's still going to chuck. And maybe the usage goes down a little bit, but I do think his efficiency is going to go up alongside of Miles Bridges like we saw 2 years ago. That ended up being a big part of why I think LaMelo Ball did not look nearly as good last season. So there are some decent splits. I still think we need a larger sample size before we draw conclusions, but that doesn't mean you can't get a half unit in on LaMelo Ball over 28.5 points here, minus 105. Washington, they are the gift that keeps on giving. So therefore, it's Thanksgiving. We will be betting. I don't have any other INGs. Fired up, friends. We like the over. The over of 28.5 points for LaMelo Ball. -105 on DraftKings. That's good stuff. I have no words because, I mean, from a betting perspective, getting the lock across the board with the Houston +8, Houston +7.5, plus Houston +8.5 if you ended up sitting around getting that number. Obviously, we got Alper and Şengün who ended up playing, and we ended up smashing there, getting that one across the board. It was a little bit of a sweat, if we're being honest, but 2.5 points, 3 points covering. Hey, nothing to see here. Beautiful stuff from the Rockets against Golden State on Monday, that was. But here on Wednesday, the main thing that Monday was sad for was Nikola Jokic triple-double. It was just incoming. It was one of those things that you could see against Denver coming off of a pretty brutal loss the day before they're in Cleveland on the back-to-back. You had Jokic with 9, 5, and 5, 15 minutes into that game, and he gets ejected. Hit the road, Jack. Or Jokic. Don't you? We're not going to keep singing it. But going up against Orlando on a back-to-back here, Wendell Carter continuing to be out. Markelle Fultz already announced going to be out for this one as well. I got to think Jonathan Isaac does not play here on a back-to-back. They've been very, very careful with his minutes coming off of a million injuries, as they should. Really like the way that he's looked. And hey, played 20 minutes against Chicago, closed in that game, 6 for 8 from the field, 2 for 4 from 3. Jonathan Isaac used to be a dude, for those who aren't familiar. I talk about him probably more than I should on this program for somebody that I haven't bet on anything, because there are rarely things to bet on when it comes to him, but probably won't even be playing basketball on this back-to-back. They are currently blowing out the Raptors 115-91. Ironically enough, Jalen Suggs hits his over PRA, and we get an absolute smash from Dennis Schroeder. So I'm not so mad at it after all. Ended up on the good side of some variance for once when it comes to a blowout and having my guys get there in less than 3 quarters. But of course, it's Nikola Jokic to triple-double here. He's upset. He's mad at referees. And Mike Malone, please just take the bullet for him next time. Like, I know you got a tech after the fact, but like, get ejected yourself instead of getting Jokic upset. And I know he's frustrated. Still, Luka Doncic is the main MVP of the whiners, but I mean, it is what it is. Nikola Jokic, friends, triple-double. I want to see some numbers here on this one. None of them are out because, of course, Orlando is currently playing in a basketball game. And, well, I got to guess we're going to get something in that +140, +145 range. If we do again, you're going to fire this one up for a half unit. Atlanta is currently in the middle of a track meet, so they can't come to the phone right now, but they'll take a message. It's 103.95 with 6 fucking minutes left in the third quarter. This total closed to 252.5. I've never seen anything freaking like it. But Brooklyn, they bring a completely different situation than what Indy does to the program. For one, they're not Indiana, where the Pacers, I mean, they're playing 104 possessions per 48 minutes, and then they're efficient on the offensive end, and Tyrese Halliburton is that dude. But you look at everything for Brooklyn over the course of this season, and it's going to slow down significantly here in this one. 98.5 possessions per 48 minutes. You look at the adjusted defensive rating, hasn't been that good, but Brooklyn's had a very difficult strength of schedule. They're 6-7 on the season, but they have the second most difficult adjusted offensive strength of schedule and third overall. So yeah, there's going to be massive improvement as they get healthier. They're still waiting for Cam Thomas to get back, Ben Simmons to get back, number of these pieces to get back. And Atlanta here on the back-to-back, Ken, Jalen Johnson's that dude. I've really enjoyed watching him play the game of basketball this season. He's having another ballistic stat line here in the starting unit. And hey, Saddiq Bey, he's starting to play a lot better as well. I know I was a little bit hard on him to start the season, but it was mainly he should have never been starting over a talent like Jalen Johnson. You're now seeing Saddiq Bey, who's gone from about 32% to 38.2% from 3, shooting nearly 50% from the field, and seeing that effective field goal percentage climb up and up and up. But from a real life perspective, from a betting perspective, either of those two perspectives, I have no interest in this basketball game as it's currently constructed unless something drastically changes here. 231.5, almost exactly where I'd put the total. -175 on the money line, 4-point favorites, almost exactly where I'd put the money line and the spread respectively. So Brooklyn money line is what ends up being the best piece of quote-unquote value, but I don't have props yet. Lots to be determined here, but Brooklyn money line just a lean as it stands right now. In fact, just buckle in. We're going to talk fast. This is the game of the night. Everybody knows this is the game of the night. The Milwaukee Bucks, newly constructed with Damian Lillard. Giannis Antetokounmpo is pretty good at basketball still. Yeah, just throwing it out there. Going up against Boston. Drew Holiday, does he have revenge in his heart? We shall find out. Going to be an interesting one here. Damian Lillard, he was dinged up. He's going to be probable for this one. Jay Crowder, the only piece that's really going to be absent that matters to either team. Everybody else, healthy on the injury report. Nobody is playing basketball on Thursday. So it inflates minutes. It inflates a lot of opportunities. In fact, I usually just kind of take a little ticker, add about a minute and a half to some of these marquee games, just because, well, then it's a good situation. But as I was going through props, I thought there would be something that would jump to the top of the board for me. And shockingly enough, everything looked pretty efficient. The one thing I will say, 11.5 points for Derek White ended up being the opening line after we started recording this video, and it updates automatically on my sheet and an Odd Shopper. Again, these tools you can get for $15 a week now. $15 a week, and you can jump in the Discord with me, right? Nobody cares. Anyway, well, I know some of you care because we're having an absolute blast, and we've been smashing, and today is going to be pretty good too. So these are good things. Milwaukee plus 5.5 here, though. I'm just going to be leaning that direction. Both perfectly healthy teams. I think this is about appropriate being played in Boston. If this were played in Milwaukee, that would make it about a 1-point favorite. So on that end of the spectrum, then we could look at backing Boston at that kind of a number. But I don't want to bet against Boston. I don't want to bet against Milwaukee. But Derek White, 11.5 points. That is becoming a little bit more interesting. Brook Lopez opened at 9.5. That's pretty low too. Maybe some single game parlay action over on FanDuel. Whoa. The Miami Heat taking on the Cleveland Cavaliers here on a back-to-back. And, well, they're playing a pretty competitive game here against Philly as it stands right now. Up 13 later in that third quarter. Pretty impressive stuff you got going right now. Pretty darn impressive indeed. Darius Garland going ballistic, 21-6-3. No Karis LeVert, who ended up suiting up for that. That is your main note, highlight, star it, because I expect him to play here on the second half of the back-to-back. If he played this first one, maybe you would expect him to play both, but I bet it was just them being a little bit cautious because they're going to be without Donovan Mitchell, Ty Jerome. It's just what it is. You need somebody else to play point guard here. Darius Garland in a very competitive spot, looking awesome. He should be good to go on this back-to-back as well. But Karis LeVert, if you get him back here, this is probably a stay away. If he doesn't play, I think there is actual value going towards a team like Miami that's 6-8. Against the spread, not all that good, not all that enticing to be backing from a spread perspective. But that's where I think sometimes on these back-to-backs, I mean, nobody has to play basketball on Thursday, so everybody gets a day off. But you don't have to force in these spots, but there might be some value just backing the Miami money line purely because, one, day of rest, going up against a team on a back-to-back, and a team that was playing on the road in Philadelphia, not your normal game environment. Now you head back to Cleveland here. You get Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo and company, and there's really no injuries of note here outside of Tyler Hero. It continues to be out, which is probably a good thing from a real-life basketball perspective. But that's a conversation for a different day. Miami money line, I'm leaning that direction. Kind of need to see some nice plus money coming in their side. Otherwise, just stay away from this thing altogether. Do not stay away from this, though, friends. BetMGM, you get yourself up to $1,500 in bonus bets when you sign up at the link below. Now, BetMGM, it's an awesome sports book. Yes, we talked about Bet365, about DraftKings, FanDuel. You want to have exposure to all of these sports books. And hey, this is a phenomenal offer because regardless of if your bankroll is $100, $500, $1,500, up to $15,000, this is a value for you at any scale that you are playing. So, telling you, $1,500 in bonus bets, but that's not where it ends. You're also going to get 2 months of the Discord, 1 month of the OS tools. Again, everything that we have underneath one umbrella now, you're going to get it all. So this becomes 2 months of everything for you instead of just the 1 month of OS tools. So just saying, pretty good deal we have going with BetMGM. So I would sign up down at the link below. You could bet $50 and you'll get $50 back in bonus bets if it doesn't win. You'll get yourself so much good stuff at BetMGM when you sign up at that link below. So do it? Cool. Great. Grand. No yelling on the bus. Now I want to watch Billy Madison. It's a great flick. 21 and over. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. Back to the picks we go. Toronto getting absolutely bamboozled. 123-102 there in Orlando. Thanks for coming. Have a nice day. 122 when it's gotten disgusting. This is bad. But Dennis Schroeder got over, so it doesn't really matter. We're happy. Anyway. Toronto, Indy. Indy is playing at the most breakneck ridiculous pace of all time. Something's got to give here in this one because Toronto, we know that they're further on the other end of the spectrum. They're 98.1 possessions per 48 minutes. That is just 23rd in the NBA, so they play at a much slower pace. They've also had a pretty difficult strength of schedule so far, and I try to get early to the party on teams that might have difficult strengths of schedules, especially in like a defensive perspective, which they faced the 5th most difficult strength of schedule from a defensive perspective to start off this season. Toronto has. Now you get a Pacers spot where they are playing at the fastest pace in the NBA at 104 possessions per 48 minutes. And offensively, they bring a lot to the table. Now, they've just made it a very competitive game, 108-107 in the 3 minutes left in the second quarter. This thing is going to go for like 325 points. What is going on here with Pacers games? This is just so clear cut for me. I have no idea where Schroeder's points prop is going to open here for this one. I have no clue. It opened at 13.5 against Orlando. He just went ballistic. Does this open at 15, 15.5? I don't know, but I'm going to find out here right out of the gate. Brought up a ton of stats about why we loved him yesterday. This is a 14-game slate, so we're not going to bring them all up here now, but the guy's been up there in usage. He's been third in usage or second in usage on this team. First in assist rate by a marked mile against Mr. Scotty Barnes there, 34 to 25%. But you saw him a lot more involved offensively here, knocking down shots, being effective there. OG Anunoby looked pretty good as well tonight. You know, didn't look good. Scotty Barnes, he was a turnover machine, and he's got to start figuring out a little bit of what's going on in that department, making some really strange decisions. Again, they want him to take an elevated step up here. They were 6-7, now 6-8 entering this evening's festivities, but we're just going back to the Dennis Schroeder well in some capacity. I'm going to call it a lean on Dennis Schroeder up to 15 points right now. We know his 20.5 was the opening number of points plus assists, 22.5 points plus rebounds plus assists. All of those hit across the board, had 2 of the 3. Beautiful stuff there in the premium Discord, but also be on high alert. This could end up being super wonky and be something we stay away from, but he's been undervalued all year long. Nice to be hitting on 3 consecutive smashes with Schroeder. The Memphis Grizzlies, the Houston Rockets, and I really like this spot from a prop perspective. Again, from a betting perspective, we just backed Houston as a lock against Golden State. That had more to do with Golden State than it did for Houston, although Ime Udoka, guys should be up there for Coach of the Year here thus far. I mean, he has revamped this basketball team, but made them competitive in spots you would never expect them to be competitive. Against the Lakers, against Golden State, both of those on the road, they were in positions to be competitive in both of those spots. LeBron James goes ballistic against Dylan Brooks. Maybe Dylan Brooks would trap her for a little bit. Yeah, we probably want to do that. But as you work through some of the specific numbers here, I thought one thing that was a little bit interesting to me is the fact that this team, the Memphis Grizzlies, they're giving up tons of assists and buckets at the rim. Now, that's what happens when you have Bismack Biyombo as your big underneath there. Just throwing it out there. He none too good at this stage of his career, so it's problematic. Now, at the rim, they're only allowing 33.8% of the shots to be taken there, but guys are finishing at an absurd rate. 57% at the rim, 57% shooting. That is atrocious. Absolutely atrocious. The efficiency that you're getting from these teams, I mean, it is just absurd. And now, on the other end, Memphis can't finish themselves at the rim, but you know what? That's not what I'm getting at here. Alperen Sengun is what I'm getting at because this kid is starting to take a step up in pretty much every single regard. He looked like a really polished big already from the offensive side of things. Defensively, he's getting better and better as he goes along here, not getting just criticized for, well, we can't close games with our young player when we're 15 and 45. Again, having Udoka as a coach there is such an improvement that there aren't really words for it. So he's utilizing Alperen Sengun in dribble handoff scenarios with Jalen Green and Fred VanVleet. He's allowing him to create and initiate a lot of the offense. In fact, against Golden State, he was the primary driver of the offense. Fred VanVleet, really low usage. I know it was their 3rd game in 4 days, so a little bit weak-legged. And hey, we're going to cover a lot of 3-game in 4 days type scenarios coming up here shortly. There haven't been a ton. Houston's actually been the victim of it twice already, but that's beside the point. These aren't the things I'm looking at. We're going to just talk about this. Alperen Sengun, 4.5 assists. Love seeing him initiate the offense here. And against a Memphis team, Bismack Biyombo, the corpse of Bismack Biyombo, Again, I'd be putting Jaren Jackson Jr. on him, but that's just me. If you're going to continue to start Biyombo here, you kind of have to. No Tillman, no Adams, no Clark there. 3 guys who are way better. Alperen Sengun should be able to just at least create, especially if they put Jaren Jackson on him. And that's where I think 4.5 assists, it is way too low. Philadelphia 76ers on a back-to-back taking on my Minnesota Timberwolves. Yes, my Minnesota Timberwolves. I can claim them. They're playing the best basketball that I have ever seen in my lifetime. Well, that's not true. Kevin Garnett, Wally Szczerbiak days, those were good. Latrell Sprewell, that's again where my brain goes. Those are awesome times. But I look at Minnesota 10-3 now, tied with a bunch of teams. You've got Boston, Philly, Denver, Oklahoma City, Milwaukee, all of those being teams you would expect to have 10 wins. I mean, OKC's playing some beautiful basketball, no doubt about it. But 4th in adjusted net rating, Minnesota. 2nd in the ESPN index, again, for whatever it's worth. Hey, we do have ESPN Bet, and I actually wrote something about them a little bit earlier. I think that's coming up in a bit. Actually, no, that's for the NFL show. Yeah. Kind of ruined that. But anyway, Philadelphia plus 3.5 here. Does Joel Embiid play on the back-to-back? We shall see. We shall see. Obviously, there's a couple of bigs. Naz Reid, Karl Anthony Towns, and of course, Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert out there going to try to make his life difficult. And hey, Rudy Gobert's been one of the best defenders in the NBA. Nice come-from-behind win there against the Knicks the other night at home. I mean, this team at home is just absolutely flipping rolling. It's enjoyable to watch. And now, hosting Philly, I should just fire this right away. Actually, this is more of a parlay piece, and that's where I have Minnesota money line as a lean, purely because, well, you could end up having Joel Embiid sit and have this be 7.5. Again, that's just a theoretical that I'm throwing out there, but they're on a back-to-back. They're playing a very, very highly contested game here. 9-point dogs right now against Cleveland here. 9:46 left in the 4th quarter, so yeah, I'm on high alert for that, but I think this is more of a parlay piece than it is something I want to go out of my way to go bet. 220.5 total, perfect. Minnesota defensively, yeah, it's going to hurt not having Jaden McDaniels out there for the next 2 or 3 weeks as he got dinged up. He'll be out, but we've got Kyle Anderson. He can step in nicely. You got Naz Reid, who I doubt we can go 3 bigs him. But what are we going to do? Play Towns or Naz at the 3? That's not going to happen. I think Nickeil Alexander-Walker continues to start here. He played 33 minutes against the Knicks in the playoffs last season. He fit in very nicely there in that starting unit. Of course, Mike Conley just playing good basketball, being the point guard, being the quarterback, if you will, of this team. Parlay piece, I just feel like a homer if I go out of my way to bet this when it doesn't grade out as a like on my sheet. Oh my gosh, we've reached the lock, and I feel a little bit bad. So let's go take a walk down memory lane here with Eric Lindquist. One quick story. Again, I'm talking a lot quicker than normal here for this specific show, but I played golf at Iowa State and I was at Ames, Iowa. Well, the Ames High School had 2 basketball players on it. They were the #1 team in the country, Harrison Barnes and Doug McDermott. It was an absurd high school basketball team, and it just so happened that McDermott's dad was the head coach at Iowa State at the time. They were looking for guys to go play at the rec with them, college guys, and I was like, well, I'll go down and play. So I got to play a lot of pickup ball with Harrison Barnes, Doug McDermott, a lot of those guys, amongst some really, really good, talented players in the Ames High School area. I mean, it was just ridiculous being 19, 20, 21, playing against 15, 16-year-old kids that are now, I mean, they've had careers in the NBA. And Harrison Barnes, as nice as it is to talk about the glory days, these are not those days. I'm looking at his numbers here for the season, and there is going to be hell to cometh quickly. That is what we're getting at. Harrison Barnes been playing around 30, 34 minutes a game, and defensively, he's somebody who can get that done. He's actually averaging 11.5 points per game here. But, my friends, you know who's on the other end here for the Pelicans? Lots of guys who like to play defense. You have a long and lanky Brandon Ingram. You have a Herbert Jones who defensively is absolutely out of his damn mind. Even Dyson Daniels coming in there, a little bit more length than you might expect. Not really. Jordan Hawkins, he's small. But we're looking at a Pelicans team that's really not going to up the pace in any way, shape, or form. That's always something that I factor in when I talk about how many possessions are going to occur in a specific basketball game. And, well, they've been faster, 101.1 possessions per 48. That's 8th in the NBA. But one major thing, you add Jonas Valanciunas to this starting lineup and have to have him play more. Larry Nance is questionable to play in this basketball game. He's been upgraded a couple of times. CJ McCollum, nice to at least see him practicing. That made me feel the warm and fuzzies. And he's still without a timetable for a return, but it made me feel happy. This is where I just simply say, Harrison Barnes, my friend, there aren't going to be a ton of rotation minutes for you going forward because eventually they're going to want to play Sasha Vezenkov a little bit more. Didn't have to give up a whole heck of a lot here. It just kind of had some moving pieces, but he's been playing 10 minutes. You have Kessler Edwards, who played 15 minutes against the Pelicans, and, well, they got completely waxed, and this is kind of a wild spot, but with De'Aaron Fox, Malik Monk, and then Kevin Huerter entering this starting unit yet again, came back, played last game. It is what it is. I think 11.5 points is way, way, way too many. Now, some of you are going to look at the box score, and you're going to say, Eric, Harrison Barnes just put up 16 points in this same matchup last time. Sure he did. He played a little bit of the blowout run there. They ended up losing by 36 points. And Harrison Barnes, they didn't care to take him off the floor. Harrison Barnes still got to 30 minutes, in fact. Friends, this is a wild situation where I think the under of 11.5, I've got him at 9. 2.5 points is a pretty major difference for a guy who's not going to be getting any usage alongside Malik Monk, alongside Kevin Huerter, and of course, Domantas Sabonis and De'Aaron Fox. So, Harrison Barnes, the under of 11.5 points, believe it or not, is my one lock I have thus far for this slate. I mean, this is a lock though, too, my friends. Hey, $14.95 weekly, $49.95 monthly here, going forward for the OddsShopper tools and Discord. Yeah, you heard me. The OS Premium tools, the market-based approach that I use day in, day out. Checking in on Sharp Sportsbook, seeing where they're setting the lines, comparing them to the rest of the industry and trying to capitalize on it. In addition to the Discord Insider Access, where you're getting my plays, my expert picks every single day, Sunday through Friday in sports, not just the NBA, NFL, MLB, so on and so forth, golf when that comes back around. But friends, this is so cheap now. This is a price point that I have been begging for years. Yes, it's now years that I have been a part of OddsShopper and Stochastic. And hey, $14.95 allows for anybody and everybody to check out the tools for themselves, see how powerful they are, and start to make money on them today. So $14.95 a week, $49.95 monthly. But that's not all, friends, because hit the next slide, producer Jacob. We have the Black Friday sale going. Code Black Friday, 50% off. That changes it from $19.95 over the course of a week. Or sorry, from $14.95 of the week. See, I had to catch myself there. $14.95 for the week, down to $7.95 for the week. That is so ridiculous that I can't even tell you words for it. And for the monthly, would change it from $50 down to $25. Awesome stuff here from OddsShopper, the industry-leading betting tools that I use, that everybody uses here, that knows what they're doing, and then the expert picks to go with it. You want to know if something projects out well for me? I will be able to answer it for you directly on page. It's going to have expert picks directly on the page for you to see what time I bet it, know exactly how I bet it. It is going to be awesome stuff here going forward. So you want to jump in now using promo code Black Friday, friends. Awesome stuff. Sign up at the link below. Back to the picks we go. Kind of a wild game here, and I can't believe what jumped to the top of the board for me. This is one of those where it's like you're flying through, you're trying to update everything. You don't want to give out too many plays on a 14-game slate because I don't want you betting 14 different things before we have more news, before things shift. That would be terrible advice on my end. But there's a play I'm thinking about very heavily, and play that I think you should be making right now is the Bulls take on the Oklahoma City Thunder. Talked about it before. OKC firing on all cylinders, one of those 10-win teams. Beautiful stuff. 7th in adjusted net rating over at dunks and threes, and playing with that pace, about that pace, no treble. One guy that is going to be absent and missed here from this rotation for tomorrow. You got, hang on, where did it go? My sheet just shut down. Hold, please. Jalen Williams, there it is. Was going to say, I knew that he wasn't playing. Casson Wallace, probably somebody you could be paying attention to, ends up in this starting rotation, playing more minutes, 24, 26 minutes in these spots. But yeah, they're going pretty deep into that bench. Isaiah, hey, Joe, where you going with that? Kenrich Williams, Aaron Wiggins, Jalen Williams, and then Misic as well. Davis Bertans is in that rotation right now. What a time to be alive. But here's the thing. Alex Caruso on the other side for the Bulls, been saying it multiple times, beating that drum. He needs to play more minutes, and he has been in competitive spots. Last game wasn't competitive. He still got up to 27. He had 29 minutes in that win against Miami in that first game, and then 31 in the other competitive spot that they had against Phoenix. he's just so much better than Kobe White. And it's kind of frustrating for me to watch Kobe White play 34, 32 minutes a game, playing alongside Zach LaVine. I mean, I would assume, well, at least he's been shipped off to, well, not to Boston. He's just playing like 10, 12 minutes a game. But I think Alex Caruso is one of those guys that when you give him minutes, he's going to get you steals. And this is kind of just a market-based approach thing for me. The man is averaging 1.5 steals per game in 24 minutes per game. And yet that's not really being shown when you work through some of these early opening numbers. And this is when you try to attack numbers like this early before anything really kind of changes. So as you work through the steals for his side of things, I think this is worth a play. I haven't fired it up yet, but I see plus 150 on the over of 1.5 steals. That's interesting to me. Plus 150, again, 24 minutes. You extend that to 30. That becomes plus money that should not exist there. But at the same time, there's a better one on the other side of this one, and it's the starter, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He is undervalued here in terms of the steals department. Do you know how many he's averaging on the season? 2.5. That's pretty good, just throwing it out there. And another guy who's averaging less than you're going to expect in competitive spots, he's been averaging just 33.6 minutes per game, partially because they were kind of slow to the gate, and partially because they've had some wonky game scripts and blowouts. He ended up just playing 23 minutes against Portland. He's had multiple games where he hasn't reached the 30-minute mark in the last 4 games. Yeah, we're talking 28, 29, 41, 23 are his last 4 games. And you work through that in a steal department. And yeah, he was inflated by 7 steals in one of those games, but 2.5 steals per game. You add him in for 36 minutes here, which is kind of straddling the difference between extreme blowout, which they've had a couple of, and then just a regular standard number of minutes here. I love the over of 1.5 steals for him. Now, it's not a lock because, well, it'd be kind of wild to be locking a steal prop here in this spot, but 1.5 steals is the line. Minus 139 at Caesars Sportsbook. I almost couldn't believe my eyes when I saw it. So I really, really like this. Again, my modeling has this right around 2.2 steals. Again, at minus 140. That's borderline lock territory, friends. So 1.5 steals, I like the over. I have no desire to talk about this basketball game other than Victor Wembanyama, really fun to watch play basketball. The Clippers, hey, they're not going to be as bad going forward. And part of that is because, well, Russell Westbrook, he shouldn't have to play more than 25 minutes a game. You don't want Russell Westbrook in the year of our Lord 2023 playing more than that for your basketball team. James Harden's a better fit for them in that starting unit. He can at least knock down shots. There's at least some floor spacing having Terrence Mann out there. Really revamped, really interesting stuff. On the other side of this for San Antonio, Devin Vassell, I do think there's a good chance he suits up for this one. He hasn't played since the 14th, so he's had a week off basically to just chill and mend that groin injury. I don't have a joke there. Just thought I'd throw it out there. I don't really want to do anything here. Clippers, this is perfectly efficient, but 8.5, that would be the best bet out of anything here. Totals, money lines. Props always have a chance to enter the card the next day, and that's the main reason you want to be in that premium Discord. That's the main reason you want to have access to me and to the tools here at OddsShopper, because that can always change, but pretty much no desire to be betting for, against, or anything here on this total, on this spread, or in the money line. Why would I be going 3-1 on the Spurs? No chance. No chance. 3 games to go. Hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell, and I'm just going to save us some more time here. Golden State taking on Phoenix. No line out as of yet because Phoenix just started playing basketball here. Let's check in on them. They're up by 9 on Portland. I ended up betting Portland plus 13 because I'm an absolute fish the likes of the world has never seen before. But Golden State, you know that I like to bet against them. So early numbers, was trying to find some offshore stuff. Didn't necessarily find anything I thought was all that efficient. So nothing to note of what that spread could open at. I think 6 would be kind of the number, but there's some dicey stuff. You could see back-to-back, some guys resting, going into Thursday. I doubt it, though. I doubt it. I don't know. There's just not a whole lot to mine out of this one other than maybe at least noting that Golden State, they're just not very good without Draymond Green. Oh, they beat Houston. Cool. Houston was playing their 3rd game in 4 days, and they covered the lock for us, so that's what we needed. Anywho, moving along, nothing to see here. Golden State money line, if you're looking for some absolute value, that's just like a shot in the dark in case somebody from Phoenix rests on the back-to-back. Utah and Portland? Utah on a back-to-back, Portland on a back-to-back. I got a headache. Producer Jacob, just put a headache in the corner. Let's talk about a game we actually care about to finish it out, the slate. Thank you. And the last game of the night has no line, but friends, oh friends, I do not give a flying shit. Here we go, friends. Fuck it. The Dallas Mavericks taking on the Los Angeles Lakers, and the Los Angeles Lakers will be on a back-to-back here. Dallas, we know by now, Kyrie Irving, this should be fun to watch him, and LeBron, so as long LeBron playing on the back-to-back. From a DFS perspective, this is going to be a disaster. LeBron was questionable entering Tuesday's game. They end up playing here on Wednesday. It is what it is. But Lakers 8-6 here entering Tuesday night's festivities. We'll see how it goes for them against Utah. But this is really all about Dallas for me. We have Luka Doncic playing some very good basketball. Now, there's no numbers out here as of yet. He's averaging 30.5, 8 and 8. But his triple-double numbers have been trending up and up and up and up. In fact, he's only had one triple-double so far since, well, he's had 0 in the month of November. He's had 2 triple-doubles on the season, and 2 of them were in the first 3 games of the season. The assist totals have started to come down a little bit, and that is partially him giving over some play calling duties, or whatever you want to call it, just giving over some usage to our guy Kyrie Irving, allowing him to create within the flow of this offense. And Luka, this is why I'm loving it. 34.3 minutes per game. Again, these minutes have such a high point to go. They had a blowout against Sacramento. He only had to play 32 minutes. He then only played 35 minutes against Milwaukee. They didn't really get in check. They haven't played a competitive spot where he's had to play like those 38, 40 minutes in a long time. And this projects out to be that spot. It's a Los Angeles game here. They're going to then stay overnight on Thursday, play again on Friday. And just saying, this is where you want to just be invested in the party. The pants party, the party in my pants. I'm looking at a triple-double for our guy, Luka Doncic, and I'm just going to like it right from the get-go because there's no way this isn't going to be a better number than what you have on than what you had on Nikola Jokic before. And that's in an Orlando spot with some defense. The Lakers don't really bring that. And I know Anthony Davis brings it from a block perspective, but the Lakers so far, they've had the easiest strength of schedule defensively in the entire association. You heard me. Negative 1.2 defensive strength of schedule on dunks and threes. That is 30th, dead last in the NBA. There's a reckoning coming here for the Lakers. They've only been, 19th in adjusted defensive rating? Having D'Angelo Russell and Cam Reddish on the floor together for 30-some minutes a night? Oh, I'm shocked that the defense isn't very good. Luka's about to go fucking nuts. Have fun. And that does it for another edition of Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks. You know what to do. Go to that comment section below. Let me know your favorite plays for Wednesday's massive 14-game slate. Don't forget, check out BetMGM down below. Up to $1,500 you can get in bonus bets over there. So, yeah, take advantage of that promotion that they have going as well as Odd Shopper Black Friday. Yes, promo code Black Friday gets you 50% off of any package. And now the reduced price of those packages, $14.95 for a week of the tools. Yes, the market-based approach tools, the positive EV tools, as well as the premium Discord, and just $49.95 for a month there, slashed down to $25 when you sign up using Black Friday as the code. So check it out. I know we're jumping the gun a little bit on Black Friday, but hey, you got to stay ahead of the game here from time to time. Plus, want to reward you guys for hanging out with me all NBA season long. Alrighty, y'all, I'm out of here. Going to talk a little NFL. Check out NFL Liddies for the Thanksgiving. That was annoying. That was my turkey. I'm going to leave now. Thanks, producer Jacob. Until next time, friends, I'm Eric Lindquist. Best of luck in the NBA streets on Wednesday.